Welcome to Gulfstream Park. It is February 6th, 2014. Christina Basanakis here with our man, Ron Nicoletti, acting crazy already. So early in the day, he's getting an early start here. I guess it's the heat, right?
It's the heat, but I'm pumped up for the weekend. I can't wait to get going here today and tomorrow. We have like 10 races today, 10 races tomorrow, then into a fantastic 12-race card on Saturday and Sunday. And, of course, Sunday we have the Don Handicap. We'll talk to you more about that. So I'm all pumped up, but it is warm in South Florida. We got a fast main track, firm turf course, and it should be this way all day.
It should be, and I've been actually up for quite a while. I came up to Gulfstream Park to have a look at our defending 3-year-old Eclipse Award-winning champion, Will Take Charge, and we can have a look at one of the races in 2013 that helped him earn that championship for sophomore division. And Ron, what a horse. I saw him this morning. He's just a magnificent looking animal. So much charisma. He got a little warm when they took him out this morning, but it was pretty humid, and he's a tremendous looking animal.
Yeah, and he looked like he was going to win this race. He just came flying at the end. What a performance by Will Take Charge, and couldn't wait to vote for him for 3-year-old of the year. You see the photo, and you didn't hear it, but Larry Comas actually called Mucho Macho Man, but I would have never done that. And Larry, he's the best, Larry. Yeah. So he called it, but Will Take Charge right there at the wire. Of course, that was in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and he was a lock then for 3-year-old champ, and we get to see him Sunday in the Don Handicap. I cannot wait.
I have to tell you, and you know, for those of you who just like to go see these horses, you see them in the paddock and you see them before, maybe you're lucky enough to see them before race day. He's just such a laid-back horse. He's like a big puppy dog, just doing whatever he was asked of him, and just like such a tremendous horse. And I can't wait to see him Sunday. But I also had a chance I stopped by Nick Gonzalez's barn, and Nick has a very nice horse named River 7, who won the Harlan's Holiday here just a few weeks ago, and he is a little spitfire. And we're not talking about Nick. we're talking about the horse.
Wait, I was confused there for a minute.
Yeah, just a spitfire, and he's so alert, so sharp. He looks like such a smart horse. He looks like he's ready to go, and they're telling me that he's really chomping at the bit. He looks like he's pumped up and ready to roll.
He's going to have his running shoes on to win that race, but that's what horse racing is all about, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And that is on Sunday. Saturday, another great day with 12 races, a couple of stakes races, and on Sunday also we got Groupie Doll.
And we have Groupie Doll, and that's going to be in the Hurricane Birdie. That's on Sunday. However, we do have on Saturday the Suwannee River, and also we have the Gulfstream Park Sprint. So very competitive races. We also have those guaranteed pools on Saturday.
That's right. We have $100,000 in the pick 5, one pick 5 of the day, but the late pick 4 each and every Saturday during the month of February, $200,000 guaranteed, and that would be the last 5 races of the card and the last 4 races of the card. Remember, when we have this 12-race card, everything shifts a race along with the Rainbow Six. And speaking about the Rainbow Six, we have a big carryover today, right?
We do have a big carryover, $383,000, and that does start in race 5, and a very competitive card and some really good betting options. So that's something that we're looking forward to as well. And Ron, big weekend. But before we get to the weekend, we've got like I said, we got a stacked card today, and we'll kick off with the first race on today's card, which is a 12-5 claiming event, 6.5 furlongs on the main track. And my top selection in there, I went with what I need a lot of today, given my early rising, number 6, Hot Coffee.
Hot Coffee, yeah, and he ran a very nice race last time out at a mile. He drew off to win that race by 2 lengths. I did go with the number 2 in here, and Tonight the Dance. This one is dropping to the $12,500 level in the dirt, cutting back to 6.5 furlongs. Duel for the lead and faded. That was at a $20,000 condition claimer going 1 mile and 16th on the turf. You know I'm a sucker for speed on the grass, turning back to a sprint distance, so I put Mr. Nick Gonzalez's horse on top right in there, but certainly Hot Coffee ran a very nice race last time out.
And I think with Hot Coffee, a big reason was because there is going to be some speed in there, and one of them being Tonight We Dance, and also number 4, Living in Peace. I thought that maybe the speed situation hopefully would set up for a horse coming from off the pace, but we will see. Heading on to the second race on today's card, which is a it was a 62.50 claiming event, 6 furlongs, main track, and there is a scratch number 2, the Mint Angel. This kicks off the early pick 4, and my top selection in there, number 9, I went with Pompous Miss.
Yes, she's going to try and make it 2 in a row after edging away to defeat a field of $8,000 claimers that included a horse that I put on top of my ticket, and that's the number 1 New England. This one getting a little bit of a class break. He followed that come behind victory. This level and distance, it was back on December 26th. Then he stalks, he faded at the $8,000 level last time out. More importantly, this 9-year-old mare should sit a perfect second flight trip behind. What I see is a lot of speed in there. So I went with a little bit of a pace angle in there with the number 1 New England on top. You've got to have number 9 Pompous Miss on your ticket.
Yeah, and I had Pompous Miss. I was actually pleased with the defection of the number 2, the Mint Angel, who's probably going to be showing speed. So hopefully that'll work. That'll help her from the outside post. On to the third race on today's card, which is a 7.5 furlong turf event, and it is a starter allowance, 50,000 starter with a claiming price of 50,000. Scratch number 1 and number 6. And I went with number 7, Wild Sarava, and a couple of starts, 2 starts back, really didn't fare all that well, but that was on the dirt, so I threw that race out. But that last one was a good one.
Yeah, they're cutting back to 7.5 furlongs today after making what looked to me like a winning bid and finishing second. And it was a really competitive group of $16,000 starter handicap runners going a mile in the 16th. I think the turn back to 7.5 furlongs really going to help the 7 Wild Sawava and Mike Maker. How could you not have him somewhere on your ticket? So we are in agreement with number 7, Wild Sawava.
I see that we also, both of us used number 4, Sweet Tooth Sweetie. And last time I did expect a better effort from her. They had made some adjustments from her previous starts, and she was given some time off, and she was pretty well beaten. But I'm hoping that she's going to bounce back, run a better race.
Yeah, and I think that was a nice performance at 5 furlongs, now stretching out to 7.5 furlongs. And if you're not aware, 7.5 furlongs on the turf here at Gulfstream Park is around 2 turns. A lot of people think it's a sprint, but it's not. 7.5 furlongs, they run around 2 turns on the turf course. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, the turf is firm.
And on to the fourth race on today's card, which is a 50,000 claiming event. It is 6 furlongs on the main track. And my top selection in there, U2 Tweet. And, you know, I thought coming out of a 4th place effort and beaten by 9.5 lengths, but behind a very nice horse named Scandalous Act. Now, that was back in August, so coming off of a bit of a layoff. And but I think David Fox is he's pretty good bringing those horses back.
This horse I remember running in the summer here, and we thought this was going to be a real good one. And, you know, was laid off for a while. Something must have went wrong coming back. And that last race was in the Susan Girl division of the Florida Stallion Stakes over at Calder on August 24th. And David Fox, this is a fast horse, and if she's right, she'll be very dangerous in there. With that said, I went with the number 3, Two-Step Flores. Would try these $50,000 claimers after setting. Look at the fractions this horse set last time out, and they were pressured. 21-4 and 45 flat before weakening to finish third against a really swift group of $50,000 optional claimers. And to me, on paper, if you two tweet, you need a race. This horse looks like the fastest horse in the race, so I put number 3, Two-Step Floor, on top of my ticket. But you got to watch that U2 tweet.
Now, you think with the speed that's in that race, because it seems that there's several horses that might show speed. Do you think it's because she was able to handle it last time? Although she did kind of just wilt just a little bit late. But how do you think she'll handle that?
I think that the pressure is going to be easier on the front end this time around. So I just went. I thought it was a really nice performance last time out, and she was pressured the whole way, and those were swift fractions. So I'm thinking a little bit easier today. I don't see anybody as fast as her in the race, but that I've always usually proven wrong. So we'll see what happens in there.
And we're going to just take a short break. We'll come back and have a look at race 5 that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow 6. There is a carryover, $383,000.
OBS, the 2-year-old source to the world in 2013, with undefeated juvenile champion Asia Express drawing high praise in Japan, 2-time Breeders' Cup champion Secret Circle, and Breeders' Cup 3rd mile winner Golden Sense in North America. Make plans to find your next champion at OBS 2-year-old sales in 2014. OBS, we measure success by performance.
ExpressBet brings you a whole new way to play the races. An easier, better way to wager on your favorite tracks. With a more streamlined interface for faster wagering. With more handicapping insights from our world-class experts. With more racetracks, nearly 200 to choose from. And with your personalized multi-view wagering screen, your tracks, your wager pad, and your video are all on one page. It's simply the best way to play the races. Your way. Welcome to ExpressBet. Your way to play.
Welcome back to Gulfstream Park.
We're having a good old time up here.
We are. We're having a lot of fun. So far, so good. And we're going to have an even better time when we talk about race 5, because it does kick off that Rainbow 6, and there is a carryover, $383,000. Couple of scratches, number 2 and number 4, and it is a $75,000 allowance optional claiming event, 5 furlongs on the turf course. My top selection in there, number 3, Sweet Emma Rose, and hasn't been seen since June 19th of last year, but that was at Royal Ascot in England. She was second, beaten only a couple of lengths in the Queen Mary Stakes. Obviously, very, very competitive race. She's coming out of, and for those of you who are not familiar, running in Europe, and especially at Royal Ascot in the spring or the summer, very significant. It's one of their most significant meetings of that time, at that time of year. But the ground is also a lot heavier than it is here. So, and if you look at the field size, 23 horses, it's no little feat to finish second in a race like that.
Absolutely. And what I like about this horse, if you look at its workout pattern right now, firing bullets on the Palm Meadows turf, so it looks like everything is go with this number 3 horse, Sweet Emma Rose, and can't wait to see this one run. Very, very interesting. And I remember this horse's debut at Keeneland, 4.5 furlongs, just blew the field away, and I guess that stamped her ticket to go to Europe. And you know, Wesley Ward does a fantastic job with shipping 2-year-olds over to Europe to run. So Sweet Mama Rose, definitely going to be interesting to see.
You know, if you look at even the race at Pimlico, May 18th, when she was 4th that day, she finished behind a slew of horses that came back and won next time out. And I think it was the natural progression, because she is by City Zip to send her and to put her on the turf. But as I said, just underscoring...
Did we single her? In the Rainbow 6? That's the question.
That is the question. And my only consideration would be, because she's coming off of such a lengthy layoff, although Wesley does really well with horses coming back off a layoff, and as you said, she's been training really well. So if I had to single somebody, I might get close. I might, be persuaded to single her in that race. But I also used the number 7 in there, Tis Gale. I know that you went for a couple of different horses in there.
Yeah, I went with number 8, Should Have Bought Her, stepping up the competition. She edged clear to defeat a pair of next out winners, so it was a key race. It was a 5 furlong maiden special weight test. This is a daughter of Artie Schiller, like Artie Schiller's on the turf, and this horse is certainly going to get more than enough pace to run at in here. So coming out of a key race, should sit a nice second flight trip. And number 8, Should Have Bought Her. It took me a while to figure out the name when it was all put together there, but once you see it, you can see it's Should Have Bought Her. And I also closed it out with number 10, Dreaming of Auntie Diane, Kirk Zadie. Sort of got to have that one somewhere on your ticket. Kirk Zadie does an excellent job, and he's got some pretty good stats with turf sprinters.
You generally do have to use those, and as did I. Looking ahead to the 6th race on the card, 16,000 claiming event. It is a 1.16 miles on the turf course, and this race kicks off the pick 5. My top selection in there, Oraluce, and from the Nick Gonzalez barn. And I spoke to I mentioned that I did stop by Nick Gonzalez's barn earlier this morning, and he said that he had a couple of he felt he had a couple of live shots in there.
Yeah, she ran a good, she ran a good race last time out. She was right there at the wire, and she was only beaten 4 3/4 lengths in the race. So moving there, I did go with the number 8, Expropriate, and this one rallied late to finish a well-met second. That was in consecutive turf races at the distance, and another one I think is going to sit a really nice trip behind the speed in the race. So another race here where I'm looking at the pace scenario and picking a horse that I think that's going to benefit the most. So I put the number 8, Expropriate, on top of my ticket with Monero, and the number 3, Prickly Pear, on my ticket.
Yeah, Prickly Pear is one of those horses that I thought was, to take a second look at this mare. She made one start to January 3rd after a lengthy layoff and showed some speed. She tired late, but you almost feel like she's going to be better for that effort.
Yeah, that was 18 months, right, on the shelf.
Yeah.
So the proverbial screws should be tightened today, as they say, or at least how I say.
But before she went away, she was running in some nice horses. So again, she does have a little bit of some backlash to her. On to the 7th race on today's card, which kicks off the late pick 4, and it is a 16,000 claiming event, a mile and a 16th on the turf course. A couple of scratches, number 8 and number 10, and there is a jockey change. Number 9, Luca Panici, and as always, Larry Colmus will be on in just a few minutes. He'll give all the updated scratches and changes.
He does a good job, doesn't he?
He does a great job, fantastic job, our man Larry. But so he'll come in, give us the updated changes. However, having said all that, I went with number 7, the B's and E's, and here's another one from the Wesley Ward barn, and came in last time at Tampa, January 5th, ran 5th, beaten about over 4 lengths, but the horse that beat him that day, I thought a very useful type, and he's finding easier this time.
Yeah, dropping down to the $16,000 level. I got a big scratch in here because my best bet was one of the horses that scratched, number 10, Lead Deluge. So I scratched into number 11, Volcano Run, who's dropping a notch on the claiming scale, returning after its Mike Maker, really sharp with horses making the second start back from that type of layoff, about 30%. And guess who's riding? Our leading rider, Javier Castellano. So number 11, Volcano Run on top of my ticket, along with Foolish Tiger, and I have your number 7, the B's and E's on my ticket.
How deep do you think we're going to have to go, since it is the pick 4, or kicks off the late pick 4?
I'm going to go deep here because I had a race set up a certain way, and when those 2 scratches came in, especially the scratch with number 10, sort of made the race more wide open for me. So I'm going to go a little deep in there, maybe 3 or 4 deep or something. Yesterday in one of the races, I did a pick 6 for HRTV, and I took all in one of those races. You can't do that with only a 20% wager.
Yeah, and some of these races you pretty much have to, given the competitive nature. But onto the 8th race today, which is a 60,000 maiden claiming event. It is 6 furlongs on the main track. And my top selection, I went back with a horse that I liked last time and I used last time in her debut. That was number 6, Philomena. And she was 5th, beaten 13 3/4 lengths last time. She took quite a bit of money. She was 2-1 that day, but she had some issues on that occasion, and I'm going to give her another shot this time.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I think she was just steadied in that race, and certainly you can come back and use number 6, Philomena, in a pretty nice price. And guess who's riding? Jose Lascano, who's away for a few days. He was over there in the Far East. What do they call that when you go to Dubai?
He was in Dubai.
Yeah.
That's what we call it.
Well, that part of the country, you know what I mean. Well, back in the Jose Lascano, my favorite turf rider here, I did go with 9, Nora in the Sky. This one is stepping up the competition. Returned from a 6-week freshening to come within the head as the favorite of exiting the maiden ranks at the $40,000 level. Peter Walder is the trainer, and this is a daughter of Sky Mesa. Javier Castellano again. Looks like I'm on the Javier Castellano bandwagon today.
You're hoping that he's going to have a really good day today.
He's got to win the whole pick 5.
Yeah, but if you're going to bank on one rider, Javier Castellano is not a bad one, because seeing as he's our defending Eclipse Award-winning champion jockey as well. I also used number 8 in there, Hello Rosie, from the Eddie Plisa barn, and coming into this off of a nice work January 28th, and 36-1. 5th was the time that day. So again, a nice competitive race in that one. And looking ahead to the 9th race on today's card, and speaking of competitive, now we had a few scratches in here. It is the Awesome Feather. It's an overnight stake, 5.5 furlongs on the main track. Scratch number 1, 2, 6, and 9. And I ended up with one of the speed horses in here. Now I'm helped by the scratches of several of the speed horses in here, and I just think she's the fastest one, and that is number 8, Our Free Roll. You could throw out that last race, at least in my opinion. We can take a look at her start. Ron, not a good start. She threw her head. She was not where she needed to be early to be competitive.
Yeah, and I picked her last time out, and I really liked this horse. I thought she was really fast, and she didn't do it, and did not pick her today, but added her to my my ticket for the exact reasons you mentioned, because some of the speed came out, and I believe she's the fastest in the race. So she had a bad start last time out, put her line through the number 8 Free Roll, but boy, number 7, my pal Chrissy, who does her best running from just off the pace, I think is going to sit a nice second flight trip in here. As we mentioned, we lost some of the speed, but this is a really nice race, and this is a really nice horse. She's grade 2 stakes place, and she's 7 for 11 in the money right here at Gulfstream Park. So she's a horse for course play.
And even in the starts, in her last couple of starts, or a few starts that she's been beaten, one of them was in the grade 2 Go for Wand, and not only the mares that beat her that day, but if you came back in the Ocala Stakes, Devil's Cave and Sweet and Discreet came back, won the Sunshine Millions Distaff in her next start. So she's been beaten by some very nice horses, and as you said, the advantage, the pace scenario should probably set up for her in that race. And looking on to the 10th and final race on today's card, it is a 35,000 maiden claiming event, a mile and a 16th on the turf course, a scratch number 4, paired. I went with a horse I actually liked last time, and I've used her again on top, probably going to take money, probably going to be favored, Aunt Ruby's Kitten from the Todd Pletcher barn. And this is one of those horses that I always say, Todd Pletcher, turf trainer, Todd Pletcher, he does so well. He's been doing so well with these types of horses. And she was in the 5-hole last time. She's drawn on the far outside this time, which would be one of my main concerns. But we can have a look at that latest effort and that latest victory. However, Ron, she had her share of issues that day. She didn't maintain a straight course. Yeah,
and she was taken down, and she was placed 3rd for interference. And you could see she bothered a couple of horses in the stretch. But you know the old adage in horse racing, you never bet a horse that hasn't done something before. Well, this horse has done something. One, ran a little crooked, but
she technically she crossed the wire first.
She crossed the wire first. So Aunt Ruby's Kitten on top of my ticket, and like I said, probably one of those horses you might think about singling when you get to the last part of your Rainbow Six ticket.
And I also used number 10, and I actually was torn, and I see that you used this gelding as well, and number 10, Quacha, and coming into this off of a 4th place effort, and beaten by 9.5 lengths. Javier Castellano aboard that day. Julian Leperoux is aboard today, but Quacha to run at.
Yeah, and I think the drop in competition is really going to help you. That was $75,000 types last time out, with race against $35,000 top. So editor ticket Tommy Proctor, we got Julian Leperoux atop this son of exchange rate.
I know that you all 7 I saw in there as Schoolyard from the Bill Mott barn, and here's another. This one got the advantage, or was promoted to 2nd, and came out of that same race of Aunt Ruby Kitten.
Ding, ding. That was the horse that steadied in the stretch and was finished 3rd, was placed up to 2nd. So a rematch for those two. And the rematch, like we said, back in the Schoolyard with number 7. Schoolyard.
So that's it for today. At least we've got so much to look forward to tomorrow and this weekend, Ron. And anything that I know that we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. There's that book for celebrating the 75th anniversary here at Gulfstream Park, and we had the celebrations last week, and that book is really fantastic. I've been flipping through it, and just some of the history here, some of the horses, some of the people that have been here throughout the decades. It's a great time here at Gulfstream.
Yeah, and you can get that book in our gift shop, and if you come by and visit us, take a look at it. It's really, really nice, and haven't got a chance to read it yet, but I know Christina, every time I look at it, she's got her head inside that book checking it out.
I'm making notes, and I've got crib notes, and and earmarking some of the pages, and so hopefully I can share that for all of you. But as I said, and as Ron said, go and pick up a copy. It really is worth it. And that's it for Ron, myself. We will be back for the rest of this afternoon, folks.